everybody, and welcome to another edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. Happy opening day for the beloved Boston Red Sox, and as always, I'm Robbie, along with Kyle. Kyle, how are you tonight, buddy?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing great. Watching the Red Sox opening day from Fenway. No fans, but still, it's good to have baseball back, and they are currently scoreless in the top of the third inning. And speaking of the Red Sox, today we kind of wanted to get back into a little theme that we've been doing with some of our past episodes, that is reviewing championship teams from the past, or just teams in general from the past. And one team that we realized we had not covered yet, which I think is very important, especially in Boston sports history, and it's very fitting given what night it is, was the 2004 Boston Red Sox, the team that 16 years ago, this coming October, reversed the curse by being the first Red Sox team in 86 years to win the World Series. And that's kind of taking us back all the way to our freshman year in high school, which for some context was only the second year that you had actually lived in Wellesley. I mean, that's how long ago this was. But take us back in your memory bank to freshman year of high school. We're playing freshman football and going into high school, and I think that summer actually was the first time you and I went to a Red Sox game together, which was pretty cool. So just sort of take us through what you remember about that time, and just more what you remember about the Red Sox sort of chase for that elusive championship, and then finally being able to win that first championship in 86 years.
That was amazing. I had been a Red Sox fan pretty much all my life. And, having lived in New Jersey for a few years, it was interesting being surrounded by all those Mets and Yankees fans. So I felt like I was, singled out a little bit, but that's okay.
Well, you were in Rhode Island, too, for a little bit. So you went from, Red Sox Nation to non-Red Sox Nation, sort of back again.
Yeah, it was like a bit of a zigzag there. So,
yeah.
Like you, I was used to seeing them lose all the time. I hadn't really had much hope. Although I do remember they did have the previous season. They did do pretty well. They didn't go super far, but they got farther, I think, than they have in a while. The 03 season. And I remember there was all those DVDs, the Cowboy Up DVDs. Even when we, I think, went to one of the Sox games, they just had them all over there. But it was great seeing them win. I was really excited to witness that whole event. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And I think the best part of that run has to be the ALCS against the dreaded New York Yankees, who had been the team that knocked us out the previous year in Game 7 at Yankee Stadium. We won't get too much into that. But Red Sox, basically, they made history in a number of ways. And, the big way was, there they were down 3-0 in that series, 3 outs away from being swept. And then thanks to just some heroic moments from the likes of David Ortiz and Curt Schilling, they're able to come all the way back and win 4 straight and beat the Yankees. So just as a lifelong Red Sox fan like me, just talk about how exciting that was. Not only do we finally win an American League pennant for the first time in our lifetimes, but to do it against the Yankees, and to do it in the way that we did it, I know for me it was something I'll never forget. I'm sure like you said, as a lifelong Red Sox fan, it was probably a special moment for you as well.
I remember keeping track. I feel like it was one of the first times where I really kept track of the world of watching those games. and then of course watching the World Series after that. But kind of staying on that particular series of games, I remember a lot of people, including my dad, even mentioned that they thought it was the greatest sports comeback that they had ever seen, at that time. So it was, yeah, it was magic.
It really was. And then, that team, they move on to the World Series. It wasn't anticlimactic, but it was just kind of interesting how, after that Red Sox, sort of after that Yankee series and, what happened there, the Cardinal series and that World Series seemed pretty easy, all things considered. We
Yeah.
sweeping the Cardinals, and there's that iconic, grounder back to Keith Falk, and he flips it to first base, and everybody's going crazy and stuff like that. At Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And what I remember most from that time, kind of, I'm sure you can attest to this, was actually in school, like at Wellesley High School, like during that run. I remember vividly, Mrs. Novogradsky, our assistant principal, would always like do the morning announcements, and she would always, like, during that run, she would always be like bringing up like baseball related things and like really, getting us all excited for what the Red Sox had done and stuff like that. So I mean, that part of it, that sort of like community sort of part of it, just to see everybody get so excited, us included, was something pretty special as well.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Just seeing just every Boston fan in the school just like really, they really lit up after this whole thing going on, this whole run of games. And I think it really definitely started like this whole kind of like Boston sports renaissance that, that really I feel like is still going on now, with the Patriots and everything. And so, yeah.
And I have to ask you, and I kind of mentioned this, a minute ago, but you, like I said, the first Red Sox game that we went to a couple that summer, because I remember we went to one. I think it was you, Mike Mooney, and I went to a game, the three of us that summer, and then your dad and you and my dad and I went to another Red Sox game when we sat up on like the monster seats there, which was pretty cool. That year. No, not on the monster seats. On the I'm thinking of the opposite side. The right field roof deck seats, which were pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just sort of, yes, the Red Sox got to run. All right, there we go. On the board. Yes. All right. Sorry.
Multitasking.
But yeah, exactly. Seriously, gotta do what you gotta do, right? But just sort of take us through what you remember about those experiences, because obviously, that's really special. I mean, anytime we get to go to Red Sox games together, and then, like I said, those were sort of our first experiences going to Red Sox games together, and sort of also just sort of getting to go by ourselves without parents and stuff like that. So just sort of talk about what you remember from those experiences, going to those games together.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really awesome to have my dad meet your dad and everything. And I think the four of us hit it off really well, especially during that game. And you're right, like you said, with you, me, and Mike. You're right. I think that was the first game I think I've ever gone to, without adults. But it was just like us cool kids, It was great. It was a great experience. It was. You're right. I felt so independent. I was a little nervous at first, but I was like, all right. I kind of eased in. It was really cool.
Yeah, I remember that earlier that summer was the first time that I had ever been to a Red Sox game by myself. It was actually the spring of 8th grade. Mike and I went to a game, I remember, just the two of us, which was really, really fun. And then the three of us going, I think, later that summer, which was really awesome as well. But a lot of great memories from that 04 season, and sort of, like I said, sort of culminating with the first World Series in 86 years, and just a really, really special time to be a Red Sox fan. Obviously, they've won 3 more since then, but still something that sort of a time that I will never ever forget, and just being able to sort of stay up and watch that last World Series game with my family was something really really special. So for sure. Anything before we sort of start to wrap up here? Any other final thoughts on that '04 Red Sox season?
No, it was great. I will say though, I think that may have been the first parade I've been to too. After the fact, when the parade happened in like '05, that was the first I think Red Sox parade.
You mean '04? Oh,
or I'm sorry, wait. No, they won, but wasn't the parade in?
No, the parade was in '04 as well. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up with anyways. Yes, no, get my ears mixed up. I just like going to the parade too. I thought that was a lot of fun, just kind of seeing everyone march down, and yeah, it was cool. That was a cool experience too. Just add on there.
Yeah, I did not end up going to the parade that year. It's kind of funny to think that being the big Boston sports fan that I am, that my first championship parade that I actually attended was not until the last Red Sox World Series title, just back 2 years ago in 2018. But
which you ended up in the video for, right?
Yeah, so it was perfect. First experience I get at the World Series DVD. So there you go. So we're gonna start to sort of wrap up tonight's episode. So Kyle, let's. I want to toss it to you first this evening for another lovely edition of the Sue's Reviews. Sort of what if anything do you have for us this week?
Well, the review's going to be kind of short, just like the TV show I'm about to talk about. I wanted to mention a forgotten TV show that I think not a lot of people, I don't know if they haven't seen it, or it's almost a 10-year-old show now. It's called NTSF SD SUV. It's like a spoof. It's kind of a show.
Sorry,
yeah.
Red Sox just got another run. So.
Woo! There we go. 2 runs. There we go. It's a really funny show. It's just kind of like a very silly spoof of those those crime shows, CSI, Law and Order, SVU kind of thing. But they also kind of reference movies, and it's just a lot of fun. It's just these 10-minute short episodes that the most ridiculous things happen. Like one of the episodes, for example, they have a spoof on the movie Speed. Do you remember that one?
I mean, I've heard of it, obviously.
It's like this movie where for those of you who haven't seen it, it's about Keanu Reeves. He's like the action hero, and he has to save people on this bus that's rigged to explode if it goes below 50 miles an hour or something like that. NTSF SD SUV spoofs on that by having a bus, it'll explode if it goes over zero miles an hour. So the bus is basically stalled. So it's just kind of like it puts all these characters in these really silly events. But yeah, so it's just a really fun show to pass the time if you're looking for something funny and different. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, Kyle, as always. I mean, I don't think anything could top our last episode with my sister when you two got into a big sort of debate over Avengers, but still, that was.
Bring her back on. Like I would love to talk more superheroes.
that was great. That was great. My final thought for this week is just how excited I am to have live baseball that actually means something back. Obviously baseball is a sport that's always been very special to me. It's always been my favorite sport. And, just to have that and, on top of all the other sports, starting to finally come back, it's just really exciting. And I just want to wish the 2020 Boston Red Sox the best of luck this season. It's going to be an interesting, season all the way through. So, right now they're up 2-0 in the third inning. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. But yeah, I'm very excited about the season. Like I said, just very excited to be able to finally be able to, watch and talk about live sports. So, go Sox as always. So that is going to wrap it up for this week's edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. As always, for Kyle, I'm Robbie. signing off here. Stay safe, everybody, as always, and we will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.